Good morning. This is the September 18, 2024 meeting of the Board of Estimates. It's now called in order. As the board will continue to meet in this hybrid fashion, we ask everyone who is attending with us today in person to ensure your electronic devices are at a minimum placed on silent, or we do not mind if you decide to turn them off so you do not disrupt today's proceedings. At this time, I'll ask our amazing clerk, Ms. Celeste Amato, for any corrections, additions, and noted abstentions to today's agenda. Madam Clerk, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, everyone. This morning, we have the following corrections to note for today's agenda. Item SB 24-13487. This is for the Department of Public Works, pre-qualification of contractors. Under background and explanation, we are adding Banneker Ventures, LLC, 1738 Elton Road, Suite 215, Silver Spring, Maryland, at the capacity of $51,598,000. We have the following deferrals to note this morning. SB 24-13642 for the Bureau of Procurement. This is an award. RFQ 000549, managing, operating, and maintaining telecommunication systems for the Baltimore Convention Center. This item has been deferred until October 16th at the request of the Council President. And item SB 24-13539 for the Baltimore Police Department. This is an award, a cooperative contract for Artura Software for $388,888.89. This item is being deferred until October 2nd at the request of the Comptroller. We have one withdrawal this morning, item SB 24-13407, Bureau of Procurement. This is a renewal for a cooperative agreement, PS20065, Firefighter Personal Protective Equipment, PPE. This item has been withdrawn at the request of the agency. We have no protests or statements of opposition or support to note this morning. The following items will appear on the non-routine agenda this morning. Those are SB 24-12901, Bureau of Procurement, unauthorized procurement for Justice Tracks for $89,416.15. SB 24-12455, Bureau of Procurement, unauthorized procurement, CourtSmart Digital Systems, Inc., for $128,377.88. SB 24-13528, award, SC 1005, Herring Run Sewer Shed Inflow and Infiltration Reduction, Area B, for $31,863,300.00. SB 24-12993, Department of Transportation, unauthorized procurement, modular office trailer for $154,803.55. SB 24-12994, Department of Transportation, unauthorized procurement, payment of outstanding invoices for ROCA, $9,529. And SB 24-12992, Department of Transportation, unauthorized procurement for a modular office trailer, United Rental, doing business as reliable on-site services for $135,575.00. We have the following abstentions to note this morning. The Honorable Mayor Brandon Scott is abstaining on the following items. SB 24-12611, Health Department Amendment 1 to agreement with the Johns Hopkins University School of Nursing. SB 24-12273 for the Health Department Amendment 1 to agreement with Johns Hopkins University Virtual and Online Sexual Health Services. SB 24-12969 for the Health Department Amendment 1 to provider agreement with the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine Division of Infectious Disease IWTK project. SB 24-12967 Health Department Amendment 1 to provider agreement with the Johns Hopkins University John G. Bartlett Specialty Practice. SB 24-1119 Health Department provider agreement with the Johns Hopkins University Bloomberg School of Public Health. SB 24-12677 Health Department Amendment 1 to agreement with the Johns Hopkins University. And SB 24-12948 Health Department provider agreement with the Johns Hopkins University. The Honorable President Nick Mosby is abstaining on item SB 24-13503, employee travel request. The Honorable Comptroller Bill Henry is abstaining on all travel requests and travel reimbursements. Deputy City Solicitor Stephen Salisbury has no abstentions this morning, and the Director of Public Works, Khalil Zaid, also has no abstentions to note this morning. We have the following no votes. to acknowledge for the routine agenda this morning, the Honorable President Nick Mosby will be voting no on the following items. SB 24-13305, Mayor's Office of Employment Development, Amendment 1 to Agreement with Associated Catholic Charities Incorporated, ARPA. SB 24-13362, Mayor's Office of Homeless Services, ARPA Subgrant Agreement, Family and Children's Services of Central Maryland, Inc., doing business as Springboard Community Services, and SB 24-13014, Mayor's Office of Recovery Programs, Amendment to Agreement with the Housing Authority of Baltimore City. Mr. President, that concludes our opening statement for this morning.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. And with that, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve our opening statement.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. The opening statement has now been adopted. I now would like to direct the board's attention to a memorandum from my office dated September 16, 2024, identifying matters to be considered as routine agenda items, together with any corrections, additions, and noted abstentions, as well as no votes have been read by our clerk today. At this point, I'll entertain a motion to approve all items contained on the routine agenda.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. The routine agenda has now been adopted. The first item on our non-routine agenda can be found on page 159. That's SB 24-12901, Bureau of Procurement. This request is to approve an unauthorized procurement to Justice Tracks. On behalf of procurement in the city of Baltimore, we have
Adam Manning, your Chief Procurement Officer. Good morning, President Mosby, Mayor Scott, Mr. Comptroller, board members. What we are here before to you today is asking you to approve a payment of $89,416.15. This is to pay for the Justice Track system. This is a system that the Police Department Forensics Units uses to track all the work they're doing and then get the information out to both the attorneys and detectives as they need it in the courts. This was initiated originally by the police department back in '23. Unfortunately, it was at a time where procurement was short-staffed, where we only had 3 people who could actually do the work of something of this nature. It kind of fell through the cracks as it was for this year. Oh, sorry. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. We do have something in place for this current year for the maintenance and the licensing, and we are working with the police department to set up a multi-year sole source for this. So this is just to pay for the 1 year that we didn't have the contract in place for the licensing and software.
Thank you, Mr. CPO. At this time, are there any questions or concerns for Procurement Officer Manny? Ms. Comptroller, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Do you know why BPD didn't just put in an emergency procurement
I
request?
think it was at one of the times before the new process was in place, and as time needed, it went through. We are working now. We've seen recently a lot of more unauthorized come in, and we are working with the entire organization to say, no, wait, we don't want to do the unauthorized. If it's an emergency, let's put the emergency in so it goes through the entire system in the correct way. These are just items that happened prior to me at the beginning and prior to everything, and we're discovering them, and as they come through, we're cleaning them up and moving them to the correct method.
It's a disturbing commentary on how long it takes to do all of this, that we continue to deal with problems that technically arose before you got here.
It is what it is. We'll just
Yeah.
work through it and come back to the board every time and make sure we're doing it right going into the future. I mean, the goal is 0,
Yeah.
but that's what we're shooting for. But it has been better.
The appropriate response is, that's why I'm here.
That's why I'm here. Thank you, sir. Go Orioles.
Yeah, if the other question was, you mentioned that we're in a contract right now, but we're still working on a multi-year
Correct.
one.
It was a 1-year contract, and we're working on a multi-year sole source with them.
What's the time frame for bringing the multi-year in?
We should hopefully, we'll have it before
Or
the end of the fiscal year so that it.
Okay,
there's
it's a
no
fiscal
lapse.
year, not a,
Yes.
okay, got you. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Comptroller. Are there any additional questions or concerns from members of the board? Hearing and seeing none, at this time, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and probably seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. This item has been approved. The next item on the non-routine agenda can be found on page 160, SB 2412455, Bureau of Procurement. This request is to approve an unauthorized procurement with Court Smart Digital Systems. On behalf of the administration, we have
Adam Manning, your Chief Procurement Officer. Good morning again. This is very similar in nature to the one I just went over. This is for the Court Smart Digital Recording System for the courts. As you know, the courts no longer use stenographers. Everything is digitally recorded. This really came into play back in COVID, where they had to have everything digitized and pivoted very quickly. This is to pay for the hardware and software. It's the digital licensing of everything for the previous year, for $128,377.88. The current year we do have a contract in place and it is paid for. And going forward, my understanding is, talking with the courts, is actually the state will be moving this under them and it will no longer be with the city. And if it is, we will then reach out to make sure that we have a multi-year contract going forward. Again, due to the value of it, there was only 3 people in procurement at the time who could work on it, and each procurement officer had a workload of anywhere between 80 and 90 solicitations that they were trying to work on. It's just one of the other ones that we're trying to clean up, and that's why I'm here.
Thank you for that. Are there any questions or concerns? Mr. Comptroller, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just one clarification. So we are currently working on a multi-year contract, but the state may be taking over the responsibility for this expense?
Yes, sir.
And if so, they would do the multi-year contract? Do we have any grasp of?
Not at this time. We're still
Okay.
waiting to hear from the state and what's going on. If not, we will be prepared to make sure that we have a multi-year contract.
In place before this
Yes, sir.
one runs out, which is also on the fiscal year?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Any additional questions or concerns for members of the board? Hearing and seeing none, at this time, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and probably second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. This item is approved. The next item on our routine agenda can be found on pages 206 and 207. You know what? Let's just do all the unauthorized together. The next item that we're going to go to in our routine can be found on page 266. That's SB 2412993, Department of Transportation. This request is to approve an unauthorized procurement with Will Scott Williams Scotsman Incorporated on behalf of the administration of DOT or procurement.
I think she stepped out
Oh.
just a moment, but if
Okay.
not, I can answer it. The director is here.
Yeah. We will,
And moving quickly.
welcome, Madam Director.
Good morning, and thank you very much.
And your
all are
name?
Expeditious. Good morning, everyone. I am Director Corinne Johnson. All right, so for the first item, SB 2412992, unauthorized purchase of a modular office trailer, United Rentals, in the amount of $135,575. In September of 2022, the Labor Commissioner's Office of Risk Management required the immediate displacement of DOT's maintenance staff located at 2601 Falls Road due to inadequate building structure and OSHA violations. So we relocated the staff to 560 West North Avenue, which required minimal renovations, but it did require the addition of a second restroom in order to meet OSHA regulations. So with the abrupt directive to relocate staff, DOT sought a contractual mechanism to procure restroom trailers and identified a United Rental purchase order. DOT contacted United Rental about the urgent trailer need, and the vendor started making arrangements to respond to the urgency, but for some unknown reasons, the requisition was not submitted prior to the PO expiration on October 16th of 2022. United Rental furnished the trailer to support DOT's urgency, but they did so before that PO was in place. An emergency declaration was not issued during that time by oversight. This request is to pay the vendor for invoices in the amount of $79,475 and an additional $56,100 for continued services until the contract takes effect. DOT has been working with BOP to secure a contract. And I'd like to note that while this started years ago as an emergency shift, the agency and current leadership has continued to make improvements to workplace conditions and enhance the facilities for our employees. Having vacated the facility located at 2601 Falls Road, DOT has repurposed the property at 560 West North Avenue to house Sector 2 maintenance section. Previously functioning solely as a main salt dome and hub for our brine equipment, the property has been retrofitted to accommodate maintenance and administrative staff. We've repurposed our right-of-way and utilizing space beneath 83 adjacent to 560 North Avenue to provide adequate parking for personal and fleet vehicles. And DOT's facility maintenance group has constructed a building, which has been completely constructed, and we're working on the interior items, flooring and things have been installed to serve as a locker room and other amenities for our workers. And then we're working on the next stages for the lot so that it'll be soon furnished with semi-modular units that will accommodate more permanent locker rooms, restrooms, and break rooms for staff.
Thank you, Madam Director. As your engineering brain works, you did it in numerical order. We were a little out of order, but
Sorry.
I appreciate it from one engineer to another. So before we go on to any questions or concerns, I'm just going to read it in, and then we can go to any questions or concerns that the board might have. This item, the non-routine agenda, is found on pages 268 and 269. That's SB 2412992, Department of Transportation. Its request is to approve an unauthorized procurement of United Rentals doing business as reliable on-site services. And we just heard from the Director of DOT. At this time, from the board's perspective, are there any questions or concerns? Mr. Comptroller, the floor is yours.
Okay, I'm going to try to go down these in the correct order, but I don't always have an engineering brain, so I sometimes borrow one from my wife, but I think this morning she has it. So the first question is, why were these unauthorized procurements and not emergency procurements?
That's a question. I know there's been a lot of changeover in leadership, so I don't really know why that formally did not happen. I can say that, of course, under my leadership, we have been very diligent.
Right.
Anytime there's been an issue raised, we've quickly had those conversations, determine if we had to issue an emergency declaration or not, and we followed those procedures.
And just, Mr. Comptroller, if I could just add context, I believe it's not only before Director, you've been there, but also before our CPO, Chief Procurement Officer, very similar to the item that we just saw with the police department.
Oh, I'm sorry, what was the date for this?
This was back in September of 2022.
Oh, that's right.
That's what I
Okay,
said.
yeah,
She did
that's
it
right,
in
yeah.
numerical
Okay.
and maybe
Chronological order.
So it's pretty good.
Okay, yes, okay, noted, and noted and granted, okay.
Thank you.
The second was, are the renovations now complete?
So for this one, it wasn't, so this one was a little bit different because that building was in such dire state, we weren't working on making renovations to
Okay.
the Falls Road. There's a lot, it's really complex.
Okay, so we're
The
not-
next item is
That's
more
the
about
one where we're
renovations.
just gonna- okay,
Yes, that's
okay.
what I'll speak more on.
All right, and then the last question, and I'm not sure if technically this is for you. You were following OSHA requirements
Yes.
in terms of needing to have multiple trailers, and we'll get to that also with the next one. Actually, you know what, I'll leave that for the next one.
No, for this one, it was the need to have a restroom for each sex.
Yeah, okay, so that's where I had a question technically for the law department, which is, well, I guess technically it would be for the Office of Labor Commissioner, except I don't think anybody told her she should be here. Is that also a contractual requirement in our contracts with the employees? Or is that just an OSHA requirement? Because if it is just an OSHA requirement, then does anybody proactively reach out to OSHA with things like, we're moving towards having non-gender specific restrooms, societally speaking? Do we still need to be doing that in the workplace for a particular reason, other than spending an extra $100 and some $1,000 so that we can have two when we really only need one for the number of people involved?
So, Mr. Comptroller, I would just say, your office actually just reached out to us about this, and I think we have a meeting on the books in the next couple days to explore exactly that. My understanding of the labor contracts, it's more about providing, a safe working environment. I'm not sure there's something as prescriptive as the gender of the toilets. And the point is taken about what OSHA is doing, and I would imagine they probably there's some consensus about that. But I think we're going to be talking to
Okay,
your
good.
office about how we can, approach, whether to approach, or how we can think about, making those changes to bring us sort of into the more, modern rules and regs around that.
Because we understood that there might be issues if these were also changing facilities, but you've clarified that that's a separate thing, and these are just for toilet facilities. Okay.
Yes, it was.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Comptroller. At this time, are there any additional questions or concerns from members of the board? Hearing and seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and probably second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. This item is approved. The next item on non-routine agenda can be found on page 266. That's SB 2412993, Department of Transportation. This request is to approve an unauthorized procurement with Wilscott Williams Scotsman Incorporated. On behalf of the administration, we have
Director Corinne Johnson from DOT. So this one, now that we're going in numerical order, but this one actually we're going back in time. So this is from April of 2021, so it goes
Oh,
even
wow.
further
Okay.
back.
All right.
All right. So again, this one worked with the Office of Risk Management again. In this case, they deemed the administration's towing administration uninhabitable. And so this one required immediate relocation of staff. This, of course, is a very public-facing building because we're dealing with towed vehicles. So this one was a little more critical, even more so than our maintenance facility, the last item. So we were scrambling initially to try to get the staff out of there. At one point, it was kind of like a van structure. Then we worked with another agency to try to bring in a temporary trailer that they had. But then even that was met with a lot of challenges and maintenance issues and things like that. And so I don't know the exact timeline of this period, but it was kind of like we had an urgent situation, and then we kept trying to make things work and kept having issues along the way. And then at some point, that's where we got to where we said, okay, let's try to get in another trailer. So at that point, the department contacted Wilscott to try to get a trailer to relocate the staff to and continue providing the public-facing services for our citizens retrieving the vehicles. Again, at this stage, an emergency declaration was not issued by oversight. The vendor has continued to provide a trailer while the department's facility remains under renovation. The good news is that this building is substantially complete. The last update that I have is that that we're anticipating mid-October for everything to be done. Actually, I think it was just last week I went there to do a walkthrough, and it looks amazing. It's beautiful in there. All of the IT drops are done. There was some HVAC work that they were working on. All of the floor in the cubicle stuff was done. Some minor punch list things. There's some other ceiling work and things they're working on, but there's we're in that home stretch. One of the big things with this is although throughout this process, we didn't just look at the staff that were in the building and getting them back into that building. We were also looking at ways we can improve things overall for the staff. And so as a part of this, throughout this displacement, we have here on Gay Street, we have our safety division, but some of our towing staff is also at Gay Street. And so some of our call center staff is there, some of our leadership staff is there. And so under this plan, when we bring our forward-facing towing staff back into the administration building, the staff is more down the hill in this semi-permanent trailer that's been there for many years. They're also going to be coming up to the hill into this new building as well. And so what we've made arrangements is so then the leadership will be kind of between the two different buildings in a rotation basis. So then that way, all of our staff, for the most part, will be in this new space and out of the other facilities. So even though we kind of had that emergency scenario, we're trying to make the workplace conditions better for everyone. And then we're also working at kind of a next subsequent project of now that we're in that new building, of trying to make some other improvements in the facility site to then further enhance overall the entire area. So again, this item is to pay for outstanding invoices in the amount of $103,203.55 and an additional $51,600 for continued services until the renovations are complete, for the total of $154,803.55. Any questions?
Thank you, Madam Director. At this time, are there any questions or concerns from members of the board?
You hit them all in your presentation, so.
Hearing and seeing none, at this time, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and probably second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. This item is approved. The next item on the non-routine agenda can be found on page 267. That's SB 2412994. Again, the Department of Transportation. This request is to approve an unauthorized procurement with Roca Incorporated. On behalf of the administration, we have
Director Corinne Johnson. All right, so for this item, it's a little unique. So the original procurement was done properly. I just want to put that out there. But this is a scenario where we had the vendor come to us with invoices from February, May, and June, I believe, of 2022, saying these invoices weren't paid. So we don't have the history of, we don't see any record of having received them. We, of course, again, there's been changeover in staff. We don't know what happened, but we don't show where these were paid to the vendor. So good faith effort, maintaining relationships, then we need a way to pay them. We don't have a current contractual mechanism, so this is why we're before you all now requesting permission to pay them. For this, the staff provide services at our tow yard, so they do different work as far as removing tags from some of the auction vehicles, doing some of the overall maintenance of the facility, cleaning, assisting in moving and staging some of the dirt bikes, scooters, motorcycles, assisting with snow removal and other services throughout our towing facility. So, and again, that was in the amount of $9,529.
Thank you, Madam Director. At this time, are there any questions or concerns from the board regarding this issue? Hearing and seeing none, at this time, the board will entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and probably second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. This item's approved. Thank you so much, Madam Director.
Thank you very much.
The last item on today's non-routine agenda, unless the clerk tells me otherwise, is SB 2413528. This is to award SC 1005 Herring 1 sewer shed inflow and infiltration reduction. This, on behalf of the administration, we have
Richard Lennon, Deputy Director, Department of Public Works. Thank you, Council President Mosby, Mayor Scott, Comptroller Henry, Honorable Board. With me, too, is Tim Wolf, our Chief of Engineering and Construction. So I'll kind of kick this off, and then I'll turn it over to Tim to talk about the details of this specific project. But this project is actually part of the city's modified consent decree. So as many of you are aware, back in 2002, the city and negotiated with MDE and the EPA on a sanitary sewer overflow consent decree, which was designed to improve the overall performance of our sanitary sewer system. That later got renegotiated back in 2017, so we refer to it as our modified consent decree. But I would want to point out that we've made tremendous progress under this work since its inception. If you just look at the most recent data, nearly 80% reduction in SSO volume and a 40% reduction in the number of SSOs. All of the improvements that we put into the system, the $2 billion that we've allocated to this work since this started back in 2002, has really shown great, tremendous progress in the work that we've been doing. I'll turn it over to Tim Wolf to talk about the specifics of this project.
Yes. Good morning, Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, esteemed board. Yes, I'm Tim Wolf, Chief of OEC. Again, like Richard had said, this is a Phase 2 consent decree project that's located in the Herring Run area. And again, the goal is to reduce wet weather into sewers. So we're doing CCTV inspection, identifying areas of concern, doing lining point repairs to tighten up the system even further to reduce those SSOs. And the estimated contracts are really a find and fix type of contract. We're mainly in city right-of-way streets, and this is that type of work. So it's located streets, manholes, sewer repairs. So as we go out and find areas, we go out and do the fixes. And it's, like I said, it's Bel Air Road, the northeast corridor around Montebello, 33rd, and that kind of area of the city.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wolf. At this time, are there any questions or concerns for the administration? Mr. Comptroller, the floor is yours.
I'm sorry, could you repeat? Did you have the completion date?
I think it's about 2 years. I'd have to go back and check. I didn't have that number with me. I think it's about a 2-year contract. And like I said, it's a find and fix. We put bundles together and we go out and we have like 3,000 feet of sewer, we go out and tackle that, and then come back and do some more work.
Okay.
So Yep.
So you're expecting that, I guess what I'm trying to, is the money is the limiting region. So like when you run out of money, that's when you'll need to do this again, and you think this money will last for about 2 years?
Correct. And we have
Gotcha, okay.
multiple contracts that will deal with different areas of the city as well.
Okay.
Yes,
All right, thank you.
yes.
Are there any additional questions or concerns for Department of Public Works? I would like to say for the record, I did not do it in the reading of this item, that this award goes to Spinella Companies. And again, it's for Project 1005 Herring Run Sewer Shed Inflow and Infiltration Reduction. Without any additional questions or concerns, at this time, the board will entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and probably second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. This item is approved. Thank you so much.
Good day.
As there's no new business before the desk of this board, we will adjourn. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Estimates will occur on Wednesday, October the 2nd at 9 a.m. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. Baltimore, we absolutely love you.
Steven was slacking.
Yeah, I know.
Hi, TV 25. We are ready to go. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Board of Estimates bid opening for September 18th, 2024. We have a few addenda to share today that will change opening dates for a few bids, and we also have 5 bids that we are opening today. First up, addenda received from agencies for Public Works, WC 1382, Montebello 1 Finished Water Reservoir Structural Rehab. That bid opening date will now be October 2nd, 2024. For Recreation and Parks, RP 24818 Cab Callaway Legends Park. That opening date will now be October 2nd, 2024. And also for Recreation and Parks, RP 24812 Congressman Elijah Cummings Recreation Center. That bid opening will now be October 2nd, 2024. So up first today for the Bureau of Procurement, we have RFQ 515. That is for sound system equipment and installation for Myers Pavilion. And there is no bid bond required.
We have no bids submitted.
So we have no bids received for RFQ 000515 sound system equipment and installation for Myers Pavilion. Again, that was no bids received for RFQ 000515. Up next, we have also for the Bureau of Procurement, RFQ 000605. Request for proposal, Risk and Claims Management Information System, RMIS. This is a Part A opening, so I believe it's just qualifications. We're not sharing any prices today. And up first, we have
DXC Technology.
that was DXC Technology Company.
Correct.
Okay. And up next.
All right. Up next, we have Clear with a K, AI.
That was Clear with a K, Clear AI.
Correct.
Do you want their addresses?
No, because I see you guys were able to pull them from the envelopes. And up next,
Thank you. Up
Don't hurt
next, we
yourself,
have P&C Insurance Systems Incorporated.
I have P&C Insurance Systems with a capital S on the end, or is that just a typo?
Typo.
It's a typo.
Oops. Okay, let me fix that
Not
while
a
we're.
catchy branding thing.
Okay, that was P&C Insurance Systems Incorporated.
That is correct.
And up next,
Up next is Risk Connect, RISKONNECT.
And that was RiskConnect, RiskOnnect.
That is correct.
And was that our final?
Yes.
So we have 4 proposals where we received their technical requirements, and those proposals are as follows. DXC Technology Company, Clear AI, PNC Insurance Systems Incorporated, and RiskConnect. And that was 4 bidders for RFQ 000605, Request for Proposal, Risk and Claims Management Information System Part A. Up next, we have Department of Transportation, TR 24015, Urgent Need Contract Citywide. It didn't say urgent need for what, did it?
No, usually they don't.
Okay, it's just an urgent need. TR 24015. And up first,
Up first, we have Manuel Luis Construction Company Incorporated. That total is 3,4,366.16.
okay, let me repeat that. Casey, something's happening. It's not letting me record the number. 3,414,
Oh, it's 424.
sorry, I had to retype the number again because the system, it's not letting me save.
424,
3,24,
comma 366.
366.16.
0.16.
Okay. I'm not sure what's happening here, but just hang on for a second. I'm going to add another column. Sorry, we're having a little technical Excel spreadsheet problem. I'm going to put the number over here. 3,4,
24,
4,
comma 366.16.
0.16. Okay. Okay. That number was 3,424,366.16.
Yep.
Okay, and this has a bid bond?
Yes, it does.
Okay. It's not letting me record that either, Casey?
Just add it on the sheet, I can edit the
Okay,
formatting.
yeah. So let me repeat that number. That was Manuel Luis Construction Company, Inc., for $3,424,366.16, and we do have a bid bond. And up next,
Up next, we have P. Flanagan and Sons Incorporated. That total is 3,371,415.00.
that number was 3,371,415.00.
That is correct.
Okay, and we have a bid bond.
Yes, we do.
Great. That was P. Flanagan and Sons Incorporated for $3,371,415.00. And was that our final bidder? That was our final of 2 bidders for contract TR 24015, Urgent Need Contract Citywide. And we will take care of that little formatting problem before this is posted on the website. Up next, for Department of Public Works, we have WC 1279, Distribution Water Main Replacement and Rehabilitation, Sefton Area and Vicinity.
Up first, we have American Process Group, LLC.
Are they doing business as?
No.
Okay, let me add them. American Processing,
Process Group, LLC.
Process Group, LLC. Can you give me that address, please?
Sure. 1201 Pacific Avenue,
Pacific
Mhm.
Avenue,
Suite 600, Tacoma, Washington, 98402.
Okay. And the bid amount?
25,331, 554.97.
Okay, that number was 25,331, 554.97.
That is correct.
And is there a bid bond?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
What bid is that for again?
1279?
No.
The-
Sorry, we moved on. We did not give you that cue. This
That's
is
the
for-
the next one in
Yes,
line.
for the next one. So we can delete that. That should be for one, we moved on to 141 3R.
Okay.
That was what she was reading. What sheet do you want us to read next? Sorry.
In my sequence, I have WC 1279, which is the one I just announced.
Yes, it's that one.
Sorry.
Okay. So should I just move ahead to 1413?
We can, do one for
Okay.
1279.
Okay. Okay, let me repeat that from the top so we don't confuse people who are trying to pay attention to this. This is for the Department of Public Works, WC 1279, Distribution Water Main Replacement and Rehabilitation, Sefton Area and Vicinity. And up first, we have,
Anchor Construction Corporation,
and the bid amount?
that total is 18,214, 759.00.
Okay, that number was 18,214, 759.00.
That is correct.
And we have a bid bond?
Yes, we do.
That was Anchor Construction Incorporated for $18,214,759.00. And up next,
We have Civil Construction, LLC. That total is 18,992, 270.00.
okay, that number was 18,992, 270.00.
That is correct.
And we have a bid bond?
Yes, we do.
That was Civil Construction LLC for $18,992,270.00.
Okay.
And up next,
Up next, we have Monumental Paving and Excavating, Inc.
and the bid amount?
Yes, that total is 13,320, 000.00.
That number was 13,320,000.00.
That is correct.
And that was Monumental Paving and Excavating, Inc. for $13,320,000.00. And there was a bid bond.
Yes, there was.
And that was the final of three bidders for WC 1279, Distribution Water Main Replacement and Rehabilitation, Sefton Area and Vicinity. Up next, we have for Department of Public Works, WC 1413RD. This is for Lake Montebello and Montebello Washwater Lake dredging. And I think this is where our other bidder belongs. So let's start from the top.
Okay. American Process Group, LLC.
Okay,
That total is 25,331, 554.97.
That number was 25,331,554.97.
That is correct.
Okay, that was for American Process Group, LLC, for $25,331,554.97. And they did also have a bid bond.
Yes.
Got a bid bond?
Yep.
Oh, we couldn't find it. Oh, there it is. Good.
Up next,
Up next, we have Synagro Central LLC.
and the bid number?
The bid total is 27,871.71.
Okay, that number was 27,549,871.71,
That is correct.
and there's a bid bond?
Yes, there is.
Okay, that bidder was Synagro Central LLC for $27,549,871.71. And up next,
Our final bidder is the Whiting Turner Contracting Company, Incorporated. That total is 30,395,000.00.
okay, that number was 30,395,000.00.
That is correct.
That was the Whiting Turner Contracting Company, Inc. for $30,395,000.00. And there was a bid bond.
Yes, there was.
And I think that was our last bid, yes? Yeah, that is our final of 5 bid openings for today. Results of the opening will be posted on the comptroller's website by close of business, if not much, much sooner. And our next bid opening is on October 2nd, 2024 at noon. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Thanks, team. Thanks to our live audience. Thanks, TV 25.